Hello YouTube, my name is Andrew, and in today's video I wanted to talk about Invoked Branded. Now, Invoked is a deck that I believe got heavily buffed by this new structure deck. It's also a very budget deck. This list is very budget with the exception of just a few cards, and I will provide budget options for those cards. So let's jump into the list. I choose to play 9 hand traps and 40 cards for this list. The hand traps I chose are Ash Blossom, Joyous Spring, Ghost Ogre, and Ghost Bell. Ghost Bell is honestly incredible this format. It hits Prank Kids very hard, and it works on DESPIA. Whenever you have a hand trap that hits the 2 best decks in the format, you want to max out on it. This card's also very cheap. If you are not currently in possession of Ash Blossoms and Joyous Spring, feel free and just use Effect Veiler. You get 3 copies of them in the structure deck. I wouldn't stress it. This card's getting reprinted later this year. Just wait if you don't already have them. And then for the rest of the deck, we're playing Destiny Hero Celestial and Dasher to facilitate the Destiny Hero engine. This is really powerful in Fusion decks. You don't go into Verte as much these days, but hard drawing Fusion Destiny is a powerhouse. If you don't already have Fusion Destiny, there are a lot of options. I'll provide those later in the video. And then you got your main man, 3 Aleister the Invoker. Alistar is a great normal summon. He's able to bait out a lot of negates before you use Branded Fusion, so that's really nice. And he just keeps recurring. The name of the game with this deck is hand advantage. You always want to make sure your cards go a little bit further than your opponents, and Alistar is the best way to do it. 1 copy of Shaddoll Beast. The Shaddoll engine has really changed in this deck. You actually only need to play Beast. You don't have to play any other Shaddoll cards in your main deck. Not even Schism. I'll explain a little more about that later. And then I play 2 Dogmatika cards. We have Fleur-de-Lis and Ecclessia. These are very nice because you can special summon them during the end phase off of Titaniclad. Then you send off of the Mirror Jade. So it makes your Mirror Jade go really far. I choose to play 1 copy of the Albion, the Shrouded Dragon. This is like a tech card. He's an upstart goblin, but there's a specific card in my deck that utilizes this. 2 copies of ALBAZ to facilitate the Branded Fusion. ALBAZ is really good, especially in this deck, because you play Magical Meltdown, so you can normal summon this, and his effect won't be able to be negated, I think, and your opponent can't respond to the Fusion Summon. Very powerful normal summon in the strategy. I'm maining 2 copies of Cosmic Cyclone. It's like a nice staple, good meta call. Hits the Prank Kids really well. It hits like Flunderies. Very good card in general. 2 copies of Invocation. This is your fusion spell for Alistar. It's really good to have a fusion spell in your archetype, especially one that you can search. If you draw Albaz plus a light monster, I mean that can come up where you use monsters from your hand. 3 copies of Branded Fusion, the reason for the season. This is the biggest buff Invoked has had in a long time. This card's incredible. It starts your whole engine. It's the card you always want to see. You always want to recur this using Albion. There's a lot of ways to get it back from graveyard. Terraforming, it's another copy of Alistar. Magical Meltdown. So not only is this 3 more copies of Alistar, but Magical Meltdown is an unbelievable card with Branded Fusion. Your opponent can't negate the Branded Fusion with like a Baronne de Fleur if this is on the field. And they can't respond to the summon. So if you summon Mirror Jade off of this, like off of your Branded Fusion, you can activate Mirror Jade's effect in the resolution of the summon, and they can't respond, which is pretty crazy. So yeah, very good card. Really like that. Call by the Grave, mandatory staple. A card I'm choosing to play is Triple Tactics Talents. Now, I'll provide a budget option for this, but the reason I chose this card in particular is because your opponent has to interact with your cards, right? If they don't negate the Alistar, then you're getting a negate. If they don't negate the Branded Fusion, then you're popping off, right? Worst case scenario, you discard this off Makaba, but people are playing like 15 hand traps right now, so it makes a lot of sense to include 2 Nadir Servant to go with the Dogmatika engine. Very powerful. Nadir Servant is like a board in a box. This card is +1 with Titaniclad. And you can send Elder Entity Entis to break boards as well. Very good against a lot of matchups. Fusion Destiny. Yep. This card's allowed, so we play it. Fusion Destiny is really good. I'll provide a budget option if you don't have Destiny Phoenix Enforcer. And then Dogmatika Punishment goes with the Dogmatika. This card is really bad. When you activate it, you're losing out on a lot because you can't special summon extract monsters for the next turn. So it's really rough. You're only going to activate this if your life is in danger. It's like a last resort. But it is a free search. The last card is very interesting. It is Branded Retribution. Branded Retribution you can use on the field as a negate for any kind of card that summons a monster. And all you have to do is shuffle in 2 Albaz Fusions from your grave or 1 fusion monster from your field. Pretty easy to set up, but the graveyard effect is where it gets really nice. The graveyard effect of this, you can banish it from graveyard and add a branded card from your grave to your hand. So you can send this off the Albion the Shrouded Dragon and then banish it to add Branded Fusion back from your graveyard to your hand. You can also set this off of Albion and give you another interruption, making your board just a little more durable. I think it's been really good in testing. For the extra deck, cards that like everybody plays in the extra deck, you pretty much got to play Artemis the Moon Maiden. She's like $15-$20 at the time of recording, unfortunately. But you know, you don't always draw Branded Fusion. And in those scenarios when you only have Alistar, this just turns Alistar into a 1-card negate. So you want to have access to it. Dark the Dark Charmer is a card I started playing in this deck. He's really good in this meta in particular because bringing back your opponent's Mirror Jade from their graveyard is a ton of advantage. It turns on your whole engine and gives you a big boss monster you get to keep. Also, when he dies, there's probably a card in your deck you can search. I actually didn't check. You can search Albaz, I guess. So at least you do have a target to search if he gets destroyed. So the only card you can search is Albaz. But if you wanted to play another target, there's definitely some like Shadalls that you could play, some other cards. Verte Anaconda, this card isn't banned, so we play it. You go into it sometimes. There are some lines where you use Invocation to fuse away an Albaz in your hand with another light monster, make Albion, and then you can use the monsters in graveyard to make another Albion. Link those two into Verte Anaconda, and then try and summon Destiny Phoenix Enforcer. If your opponent negates the Verte, or even if it resolves, Albion in the end phase will set Branded Retribution. And you have 2 in graveyard, so it gives you a counter trap. You know, so it's just a good card. Like, there's a lot of cards you can send off this. Elder Entity End Test facilitates the Dogmatika Engine, pops a card. 2 copies of Lubellion. Lubellion's good to recycle your resources. This allows you to use your Destiny Phoenix Enforcer mats as fusion material. You can fuse Agoides from graveyard using your like burnt Alistars, and you can recycle your Makaba to make a Mirror Jade, which is very crucial because now you only play like 2 extra deck monsters for Invoked, and you can recycle them. The 1 Winda, this is like a tech card. If you play the 1 Beast in the main deck, you play the 1 Winda, and then Lubellion can summon the Winda for you. It gives you like a Floodgate monster, but you side this out in some matchups. It doesn't line up very well against the Adventurer token cards because they can always get access to an out. Therefore, it's like not amazing, but it is good. It is very good. Destiny Phoenix Enforcer, you know, the man, the myth, the legend. I'll show the budget replacement. 2 copies of the Albion Dragon. Albion is a card you burn through these a lot, but you recycle them with the Branded Retribution. So your extra deck goes a lot further than it appears, right? And then Invoked Makaba, your Omni Negate. He's level 9, so you can't summon him off of like Lubellion's effect, but you can summon Agoides, which is pretty much just as good. He's a destruction effect, and just with these 2, you almost never run out of Invoked Fusions because you can recycle them with Lubellion. Titanic Lad goes the extra mile in this deck because you have Dogmatikas. 2 Mirror Jade, your best boss monster, and yeah, I think that's 15 right there. I don't know why there was 2 of those. Yeah, that's 15. So that's the recommended extra deck. If you are not playing the Destiny Phoenix Enforcer, all you gotta do is play Starving Venom Fusion Dragon. Basically, what you're gonna want to do is replace the Fusion Destinies for like Super Polys, because this card gets a lot of traction. You have a lot of targets between Alistar and the Albaz, so you're able to pretty much always hit something with Super Poly. So it's nice to have them in your main deck. And then for the DPE bricks, you would just probably play another hand trap. You could either play Chalice. Chalice is really good because you can activate this in the Meltdown Summon Resolution, and your opponent can't respond to the Chalice. It can also be used in the damage step. It negates a Destiny Phoenix Enforcer. It negates a Scythe. It can negate a lot of stuff. So Chalice is really good, really good. And then I just wanted to show you guys Fantastical Dragon Phantasme, a card that might creep its way into the meta. It's not great against DESPIA, but against Prank Kids, it lets you dig deeper in your deck, and it's a nice level 7 Dark Hand Trap. So very powerful card, but this could just be any other hand trap, DD Crow, anything your heart desires. For the side deck, I have some options available. Triple Tactics Talent, the Super Poly, probably going to be somewhere in your main or side deck. Token Collector, very good against Sword Soul Pure, very good against adventure decks, good against Cyverse Eldritch. So I still like including this card in my decks, and I think it does go a long ways. There Can Only Be One is quite good against Pure Sword Soul. This is a card that you can put in going first against Flowanderies, which I very much enjoy. And so I think it's quite a good floodgate that doesn't hurt you at all. These are other cards you can put in going first against Flowanderies, or going second. The zombie world can be used going second to just play it, and then your opponent can't tribute summon. They're birds. They can only tribute summon zombies, so you're pretty much out of the woods if this card resolves. There's no out. And then I play Crossout Designator just to make sure my cards resolve. If I see my opponents playing Branded, if I see my opponents playing any kind of like hand traps that I don't want to get hit by, this is a card that can go in. But because I'm not playing Rites of Eremacer, this card is not as good, and I'll probably end up replacing it with something else. There are a lot of side deck options I want to explore, so this is by no means comprehensive as far as the side deck is concerned. Cosmic Cyclone, though, is a card that if you're not playing this in your main deck, you probably want to side some kind of back row removal, and this is, in my opinion, just the best one. But this is like my preliminary theory on Invoked for the Branded format. I think this deck is hugely buffed by the inclusion of Branded Fusion. I think Branded Fusion, it gives you a lot of extra leverage in only playing a small number of Invoked Fusion monsters, since you can now recycle them with Lubellion. You no longer have to play as many bricks to facilitate the Shadal cards. You can just summon Winda with just this card. And having Invocation in your deck makes the Albaz less of a brick, because you can go the extra mile, discarding it for Invocation, so that way you can get your Fusion monsters and then recycle your resources so it doesn't become dead in your graveyard. It makes the DPE bricks not as bad. Magical Meltdown protects your effects. Overall, the deck flows really well. I hope you guys enjoyed this deck profile. If you did, let me know in the comment section what your thoughts are about the structure deck, or if you want to see more videos about the structure deck cards. But we'll catch you in the next one. Have a great rest of your day, and take care. Bye, y'all.